Hello guys, welcome back to the episode 13, 14? 13? Episode 14 of Federico Live on Thursday nights. Your host, my name is Billy Miller. With you once again, which we have to thank Adam for throwing me up here. And tonight we're going to be working on something that I've been playing with, that I've been noticing around town here, that's kind of inspired me. Just moving to Sacramento, I'm trying to get out, do a little bit more, check the area out, and I kind of really dig what's going on with the street fashion here. Very eclectic, a lot of different styles that I'm seeing. Tells us a great thing about this city is we have a lot of different salons and a lot of hairstylists here, which is always great. Great community to be in. Hopefully some are watching or tuning in. So just to give an idea of what we're going to talk, we have Courtney here, who decided to be our model tonight. We want to say hi to Courtney. She has pretty much given me the privilege to have a little bit of pretty much free range, which is always exciting for any of us to do. So we don't really have many limitations, but I'm still going to consider, after talking with Courtney, some of the different things that we had discussed. I kind of determined overall length that we're going to be working with today. We're going to keep it a little bit simplistic. As I always like to do, working behind a chair in a salon, I had to come up with a lot of different ways of being creative and still kind of having a socially acceptable look to the end result. So what I'm going to be working with today is a more kind of square type shape. I'm going to keep things very flat from everything that I have hanging right here. Everything pinned up, I'm going to work a little bit more around sectioning. So what I want to deal with today is I've just been fascinated. I've been seeing this kind of merge happening around here. I mean, I've been here for a month. I don't know how long it's been going on, but I'm kind of getting this feel like this kind of street. It's almost like an urban cowgirlish kind of feel. The hairs are kind of have a flatness to them on the sides, which is a little bit more of a masculine feel, and then they have this softness that comes out of it from the extension from the top, depending on how long we want to leave it to drape. But generally, like I said, we're going to work with a little bit square off the hairline back. I have this little section that's going to be pinned up from the fringe, and I'm actually going to kind of keep this more round. So hopefully everyone had a good time last week. Adam was cutting the beautiful haircut on his model, Anne. Actually saw her at the coffee shop, and she's rocking that out. So just to give a quick look at what we have going on. I came off the parting on the left side of the head, came diagonally back, and subdivide it. Let me drop this real quick. So it's going to be a little asymmetric on my sectioning from the top, and it comes back around across the crown, back to the parietal ridge, temporal area, and shoots back across, which is going to be where my fringe will be. I actually have, this is the way I'm going to start working. So I have this clipped up. We're going to move into this section throughout the middle of the haircut. I'm going to come back and cut this out right now, start on the left side, transition all of this to take in a little tighter, and once we drop the top, we're going to work with that, and I'll get to that next. So any idea of what I'm doing? We're going to get started with this right side. Where are my scissors? All right. Am I not sounding?
No, you are. Move that. And that's for somebody to give you a shout out to make sure that they're clear.
Adam's going to need a shout out to see if we're hearing everything correctly. And I'm going to say one thing. I forgot to put my glasses back on, so don't be surprised if you see me hitting myself like this. Had a little bit of fun. I caught myself doing it all day today. They're like, what are you doing, all the students? I'm like, oh, I'm pushing my glasses up. So, as I was saying, we're going to start in the front on this. I'm kind of looking for this to be a little bit shorter, kind of right below the earlobe, and then we're going to transition and work through the back. I have something I've been playing with that I want to transition in, and we're going to talk about that as I do it. So right now I'm going to spin just to get started. We're going to see where Adam is with the camera. We got a good lockdown. So I'm going to stand in this position. Everything I'm doing will be over directed slightly. So actually I'm not going to over direct it because I do want it to be square. But what I am going to do is, so you can see, I'm going to start from the front. I'm going to kind of check to see where my guideline that I want. Measure out. Normally I would be standing, and I'll show you where I would be standing, but I want the camera to see what we're doing, so I'm adjusting and trying to figure out ways to cut that's going to be a little bit better. So looking at it, I'm going to bring it up a little bit more. So everything that I'm going to do is going to remain soft, and the only reason I use the word with a little bit of masculine of a shape is I'm just making it flatter. I'm actually going to come in a little bit shorter. I didn't like the way that looks sitting from the front view. And this actually looks a little better. So continuing, I'm going to comb and over direct my hair into the section that I'm cutting so it will remain square. I'm cutting a flat line that's going to be parallel to the camera or the wall. Adam just got a text, so I think we're all good with the mic. And once we get this going, we're going to talk a little bit about some upcoming events. Very exciting. Might as well throw it out there before I hit this back section. Actually, I'm going to wait till I hit, well, let's throw it out there right now because there's some things I want to talk about when we hit this back section, right behind the mastoid process. So we have DJ Muldoon coming, I believe, September 15th. 16th? 15th. 15th. Thank you, Courtney. So DJ's coming, and well, guys, his hands-on is sold out. Like, we didn't think that was going to happen. Of course we did. So if you waited quite a little long to get tickets, we still have the general seating for, what is it, the auditorium, the theater space, Adam?
Depending on how many people we get, it'll be in the theater or the foyer.
All right, so we do still have demos going on, and we have tickets available to that. Fortunately for some of us, if we wanted to see DJ, we've got to catch him on the next go-around for a hands-on. He's always got his calendar up there. I'm sure we're going to be doing something again later on with him. He's been in the house before, and he's a great joy to have. He's a very knowledgeable guy, so all the peeps that got tickets for that, y'all are going to be in for a good one. All right, so this is where I was going to talk. We're going to collect a guideline from this, and what I'm going to do is just to keep it going, grab a little piece, and I still want this to be flat, but I want to maintain a little length. So now that I have a little bit of piece, I'm going to actually have to tilt Courtney's head over a little bit from where I'm standing, otherwise I'd be on this side. But I'm going to over direct this all the way up and cut it flat to the ceiling. What this is doing is it's leaving me a little something behind the ear that I'm going to come back and play with after. So I'm going to continue again, and this is where I'm actually going to over direct and comb from the back side. Let's see. Elevating again. which I'm actually going to have to step to this side. It is a little bit challenging doing concave that way or cutting flat. I will switch again for what I'm about to do. And if you're in a salon and you're used to working with this, or you're doing models and you're familiar with working with this technique, what happens is we end up cutting it concave like this, or flat, and we'll work all the way through to about the occipital, past the middle of the head, and then we're going to have to come back, obviously, and switch and recut from where the head starts to turn and transition in from the round. So I've got a little thing that I've been working with to kind of do it all in one step. So the sections that I start taking, and I realize where it needs to start curving. The side of the head is still flat where I'm working, but I'm going to keep an eye on that. And as the head starts turning, I'm going to start lowering my elevation and eventually transition into vertical and not bringing things up. And well, I'll be cutting more vertical and not elevating and cutting a flat line. So as I start wrapping around the head now, I'm going to start coming out a little bit. Bless you, Adam. Tilt a little bit. So each section I take, now as I start wrapping around, I'm in transition. Most of this is going to actually come off because I actually want to cut this through here a little bit shorter. So at this point, I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay, Adam's got a great angle right here. So I'm going to transition and start cutting on the inside. I've got my guideline. I'm seeing where the head position is. And I am going to recut that because I know I want it a little flatter. So I did take off the corner, which was previously set from the subsequent section earlier. So now I'm going back, and now I'm almost completely vertical at the same time, cutting parallel to my section. Now the reason I did that is just to make up for the difference below the occipital, where the head starts to change shape. And we have less hair, of course, behind the mastoid process, so I wanted to elongate it. Now that we have more hair here, I'm slowly transitioning myself as I cut it to become more vertical and parallel to my section end. So I'm not elevating as high anymore. And as you can see, as you wrap around the head, instead of having to come back and cut it twice, it's kind of just working with it. So there's different degrees depending on the head shape and how it turns and curves, where you might want to start transitioning. But if you kind of look at the weight distribution, it just kind of moves with it at this point. If you're working higher up, you're going to actually move it and make it a little more vertical, a little bit quicker, and cut that line flatter. So we're going to actually see, I know I'm going to take some of this off just because of how I cut the front. I don't want it to look very mullety, so I am going to come back and take that off. We're just going to see it's going to leave a little bit, not much, but a little bit of softness at the bottom. Kind of what I've been seeing is kind of this distortion, kind of flare towards the bottom of the ends, and then it's layered internally above that. So we're going to continue to work past the center of the head just to see what's happening. got some dead air here. You want to talk a little bit, Adam? Okay.
I like to talk.
You like to talk? You want to grab a mic? No.
Nicole, come talk.
Nicole's going to come talk. She was one of our star students. Now is working at AJF.
You weren't a star student, were you?
I was not a star student.
You were not a star student?
Yes.
Look at that. I'm spreading rumors.
Yeah.
No, but they let me do
I'm going to
things
spread them
that
quick.
star students did.
This is live. These rumors are going to spread quick.
Well, you could tell everybody I was a star student. No big deal.
Right?
I just didn't happen to write the paper or
She was
anything.
in the top half percentile
Okay.
of all of our student body.
So just to get this out of the way, I'm just going to drop it just to see where I'm at and what's going on. So I'm going to play a little bit with this. But I like kind of I was hoping for it to be a little bit longer, but I'm going to play with this. And then we're going to look at the expansion. I'm actually going to turn a little bit to the camera. I'm going to see a little bit of a front view. Okay. Nice. So I'm going to turn a little bit because we're going to be working in this direction now. So what I'm going to do is just kind of measure off on the head shape, see where it comes out, and then bring this. So what I did was relatively flat on the sides of the head, not much roundness to them. Just wanted to leave a little bit in front of the ear out. So if you can see my section in, I came a little bit vertical, diagonal forward, and then just a little bit of this hairline I brought back. I'm going to bring back a little bit more. So I want to play with this after we're done. I'm going to actually leave this out. So as my first section, I'm taking a little bit diagonally back. I'm going to come in, cut a vertical line. This is going to remain a little bit short. I want this to kind of hit the ear, like right where the earlobe starts. So vertical, diagonal back. Over direct into my previous, just to create a little bit of softness and a little kickback.
Billy, tell them to comment in below, share their likes, concerns, anything.
All right, guys, so we have a couple of comments coming in, but we'd like to see a little bit more of concerns or questions or anything. We kind of want this to be as interactive as possible. We enjoy what we do. We come out here and we do this in the evening. We'd enjoy it a lot more if we have more questions to answer. Definitely makes us feel a little bit more helpful. That way we're not just sitting up here cutting some hair and talking, letting you know what's going on. So I am going to actually come back. I'm going to remain flat line. I'm not going to over direct it on this side. I want it to be a lot leaner. So when I come back and chip the bottom out, it isn't going to be as solid as the other side. The overall finish, we're not going to have asymmetry as much to the exterior outline of it, but I do want that balance to shift in the interior. So there's all different ways you can do things as far as asymmetry goes. I'm just going to use it to a little bit of a different advantage. I kind of want to keep it a little more balanced on the perimeter side. I'm going to have a little bit of an overhang from this section, which will balance out both sides. want you to see that I am still going vertically diagonal back with my sectioning. And as the head shape changes, I'm walking with it, and I am actually walk and switch each time I cut. So basically I'm treating this one like your classic round graduation. You can see the skin coming out. I'm putting a pretty tight tension on it because I do want it to stay soft.
You practice yoga?
I don't practice yoga.
No, you got some nice yoga poses while you cut hair.
I know, it's kind of bizarre because I've been trying this new thing out, which I'm actually going to do. It's so funny you mention that. So I noticed, like with men in a salon, like we kind of tall. I'm actually the short guy here, so it's to my advantage. But men, we like to like get down. If this chair doesn't go down, we got to squat. We got to do this. So I was thinking about it, and this is like so funny you said yoga because I was watching these people do these poses. So I'm not spread out, like can kind of disrupting the people next to me. I kind of put one leg in front, which I got to think about because I, of course, just now didn't naturally do it. But I'm starting to figure out that this, even if I move, I just keep squatting and I'm putting my weight on my thigh and I really don't have to bend my back at all. Which is kind of funny because we were talking about this. I'm all over this place actually, and it's such a huge, if you haven't been to the AJF or the Federico Beauty Institute, it's such a large space, and I'm all over the place actually right now. I'm on the school side, the salon side, and I was talking to one of the other instructors, and he's like 6'3", and he actually used to study Wing Chun or something, and he was telling me about it, and he's actually the one that pointed this out to me. He's like, oh no, I just do this like Wing Chun stance, which is pretty interesting to me.
Is that what that one foot in front of the other is?
Yeah, it's like one of the, I don't know if it's their basic kind of stance or.
Avery, he's got to come in and do one for us.
Avery?
Wing Chun stance.
Yeah. Actually, I don't want him to come in and do Wing Chun at all. I'm running.
Everybody Wing Chun tonight, baby.
So we're still keeping this line going, and we have a nice wavy texture to it, so. So right now I'm just going to kind of follow the length that I'm looking for. I'm just going to elevate it out. So I'm twisting my fingers up just to have a little bit of softness. And I am keeping it a little more head shape designed. I wouldn't say square. I'm going to round out a little bit. Looks like Adam's having fun with the camera.
I'm making people motion sick at home.
Well, I did that last week actually. We got to watch out and see if Cajun Tinkerbell, well, who is that who tuned in last week? I think they were from Louisiana.
The Cajun Tinkerbell.
Yeah, we might have made them sick if they were eating like, some fried food or something, and we're moving the camera around like this. All right, so kind of got, I'm going to step back just to see visually. So I do when I'm cutting hair, and I know this could be a little different. It may sound a little weird. Definitely the more I'm in front of the camera, you'll kind of get an idea. I try to, and it sounds weird, but I try to let the hair tell me what it wants to do, in the sense of if I'm seeing something that's not laying exactly right, I know where I started, I know where I'm going, so I will transition a little bit just to get the movement. I want to see what the wave pattern's saying, I want to see what the hairline's telling me, and I focus a lot on directional root growths, which is really nice because sometimes it helps me not cut hair exactly the same on each side, but then it will come out if I'm dealing with like a very solid perimeter and interior layers. I can actually have the balance there just because of the way the wave pattern or the way that the hair pushes is going to reflect a little bit on my over direction. I haven't done that from the beginning. It's something I kind of just started doing probably maybe the past 5-6 years. So I just wanted to share that with you guys in case you see me going back and you're like, oh, he's recutting something.
Okay, we got a couple comments.
Awesome. What do we have? Get off the camera, Billy.
Yeah. No, first off, Cajun Tinkerbell says, woohoo, Louisiana.
All right. I think that was a comment we got last week from Cajun Tinkerbell. All right. Look.
And she also says that she's digging the new way that you guys are doing the camera lately.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
But then more so, Julie Klein.
All right.
She's asking, so tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get to Federico?
How did I get to Federico?
And where did you train and all that good stuff?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to touch base in the beginning because I just got done with a conversation in a previous class over at the FBI Institute, well, the Federico Beauty Institute. So we call that the FBI, which I love. I think it's great because it sounds very serious and it's actually an awesome little setup. You got like a little handprint when you check in, the way they do their time clock and stuff. So it's pretty cool. But the story is basically I don't want to stop cutting. So I'm going to say real quick and then I'm going to explain what I'm doing and then I'll jump back. Basically, I got in here about 20 years ago, local New Orleans. At the time, we didn't have conglomerate companies or larger product companies with based in schools out of New Orleans, like Paul Mitchell or Vader or some of the other institutes. So I ended up going to this beauty school that was called John Jay. Incredible guy. I respect him a lot. For New Orleans, he made it really big. Got it started, I think, in the 50s, 60s. The guy's awesome. Actually, he played college basketball and he could have went pro, but decided he just wanted to do hair. So he ended up doing hair, built this like incredible school system, ended up having like 3 or 4 schools and about 11 salons. Very similar to someone today who we're affiliated with, kind of very similar in that way as far as not the intensity of the cutting and coloring, but the system of having the school, in the 70s, and then, that's how I know about the guy. He had a school in the 70s. He had his own television show, which was like locally broadcasted, like the Day Beauty or Day in the Beauty on Sunday. And then he started having salons, and then he had his own product line. But he was actually really great at styling and perming, and he was like the perm master. So I actually had to do a lot of hairstyling, a lot of perming, a lot of wraps with the magnetic rollers. And I learned a lot. At the time, I didn't really know what I was learning because I was like 18. I didn't really have many other hairstylists out there they were just about cutting and coloring. They weren't telling me like the importance of things. But I realized hair cutting became easier by styling and setting hair because it taught me how to work with the direction of movement of how hair grows. So long story short, I went to beauty school in New Orleans, and then a couple of years of being in the industry, I started going to advanced trainings at Santa Monica, Vidal Sassoon, and that was it. From there, I just kind of took off meeting a lot of great people. Like I've always said, I was very fortunate that people kind of, I guess, liked having me around or just couldn't get rid of me, one of the two. But they showed me a lot of great things. They introduced me to a lot of great people. and I've had a very successful, great career. You know, I've moved around. I stayed in one place the longest was recently in New Orleans. I went back, was there 8 years, and decided that it's a great city to, you know, to be in, but fashion-wise, I needed to get out, and I wanted to do a little bit more. Working by myself with my own team, not hitting the circuit and being out there for 8 years kind of got me a little bit in a rut as far as like, just want to do something. I mean, I've always pushed myself. I've continued to push myself, and I've changed the way I cut hair. I've changed different styles. This is how I was doing it in New Orleans. Now again, I'm going back to some old roots with Adam, and I'm adjusting a couple of things, and you know, but basically this gives me the advantage with advanced education to kind of touch base on some things that I've discovered or enjoyed or liked working with. So it's really great to be here at this point. And the way, I think I may have said before, but for all the new listeners, I ran across Adam a year or so ago, maybe a little bit longer. I met him through some mutual friends. We hit it off. It was really great. And now I'm going to get started on this, and I'll go back a little bit into this, what I was talking about. So over here on this side, I'm actually going to cut flatter line vertical, and I'm going to use the head shape, but I'm going to cut it completely flat. On this side, I'll transition and go to concave. So I've kind of have this overlapping of what's going to happen. But the hair is going to be pushing to this side, and I'll deal with that. So I want to go vertical and where it's going to mainly be laying. So I am going to use a little tiny segment of piece from the front that was previously cut, just so I have a connection going around. I'm going to get a water bottle right now, a little spray bottle, and moisten the hair just slightly. Great water bottles, YS Park. We have them, if you're in the area, we have them here. Outside of the area, we got Hairbrain, that's a great supporter, and you can get those tools there also. It's a great spray bottle. The chair does not go any lower, and like I said, I'm a pretty short guy, so I'm going to have to, what were you saying before? You were saying I was doing these stances. Now I'm going to look like I'm doing ballet. Ballerina? Yeah, no, not a ballerina. Ballet, there's a difference. Oh. I'm not.
Ballerina, ballet, it's one of the same.
One of the same. Right? Adam's very cultural.
Yeah. Ballerina, ballet, it's one of the same.
So I'm going to continue to work this around.
Because I'm filming from the backside, Billy, what is your point of over direction if there is one?
I am slightly over directing, but not really. I want to keep it as flat as possible. I want to use head shape, and that's going to kind of create the roundness or the embezzlement around the head. So I'm not trying to over direct it to enhance the roundness, I would say. Right here, I'm going to come up just slightly, just to build a little bit of softness for when the hair that comes over, since we're a little wavy. I wanted to have a little bit of kick right here, right on top of the wave. All right, getting back to that story, I'm trying to remember exactly what was asked. How did I get to Adam's or to Federico's? I drove a car. I drove a car for like 3 days. Anyone out there who knows that I've moved to work with, they know that I drive pretty much straight through. But now I'm a little older and I had to actually stop. But I got out here in about 3 days, 2,400 miles. But Adam was actually nice enough to bring me out here. or invite me out, let's say, everyone's going to be knocking down your door. They're going to be like, bring me out, Adam.
Bring me out, man.
Bring me out. I want to work there. So Adam invited me out after I hung out with these guys with that, you know who we're talking about, that Wild Orojo bunch had the West Coast Summit here. So I actually came down. I was invited out from some people affiliated with that company, and I really dug what was going on here. Kind of hung out at the school, saw some things happening, really liked the family, and I gave Adam a call. I had a couple of other people I was talking to. Basically, it was coming down to where I was going to feel happiest to kind of spend the rest of my working days. Don't feel like I want to move around too much more. And again, the higher I come up, I start transitioning. So later on in a few segments, when we get into some other haircuts, I'm actually going to start taking a little more extreme to this as far as like the way that I section and I move into either layers into graduation all at once. I've been playing with it. I'm still toying with a couple of things to fine tune it, but it seems to be working out nicely. It's just getting it on the right texture, the right head shape, and knowing when to pull it. So the funny question is, I don't know if anyone's going to ask. I don't know if you have asked. Is this going to be considered like precision haircutting if you start transitioning your shape and changing around? So I always like to say yes. I mean, if you have a plan, a golden idea on where you're going, precision doesn't mean that everything has to connect or meet up. Precision just means that you have a golden philosophy, you have a methodology that you're using, and you're creating a balance. And to me, that's what precision is all about. The wheel's been invented. We don't need to reinvent it. I do like to say that we can spin it a little differently. So yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to create my own style. It's like I look at the haircut in the head as a story, try to connect with the client. If it's not a model, that's where I'm making my money. And I kind of build off them, their lifestyle. After 2 or 3 visits, I start realizing more about them, and their haircuts just get better. And it's really better for them because it's more alive. It's like kind of, living for them. Took me a long time to realize I am going to talk a little bit about salon base because we still work in a salon. Of course, that's what we're tuning in for these sessions with. So I'm going to, besides cutting hair, I'm going to talk a little bit about things that I've picked up over the years in salons. In the past, I've had a lot of people I've worked for who's just, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of not great at clients for a long time. But I'm glad I wasn't, because it pushed me to work harder. So as I began to work with that, I've realized several things over the years. The first guy I used to work for in New Orleans, as you see, as the head starts wrapping, I'm going to over direct now, just to bring that in. Still cutting it flat. Now I'm going to put the comb against the head and reflect off of that section. So right now I'm just kind of using all the core fundamentals. I'm just shaking it up a little bit. So to go back to what I was saying, just so we don't have any dead air, first guy I started working for in New Orleans, I got to say was probably one of the busiest hairstylists I've ever seen. Overworked himself, but the man knew how to grow a clientele. Always made me feel like I had no idea what I was doing with building. But he taught me a lot of great valuable things. And one thing he did is he could cut some hair, but he never cut a lot of hair off. And that's one thing that I took, and it took me about 10 years to figure out. But he was great at doing that. And I started doing that myself and playing with it, see how it would work. I do like to cut hair, and sometimes I don't like to do trims. It's smart to do trims. It's our money maker. But what are you going to do every time if you do a trim? You don't have much hair left to cut, You don't want to go in there and cut it too much. So see, that's what I was talking about, kind of like what the hair is telling me. This actually looks like it's coming from this side of the head, but it's actually just the way that it's moving from the root. It's actually still on this side. So that right there is kind of a little bit about what I was explaining happens that I'll adjust and deal with. So anyway, I did this thing to see if I was any good at it, and I took pictures of all my clients, and they're not great pictures, otherwise you'd see them all over the place. But I had like, whatever little camera I had in like 2006. It was a new salon, my salon, so I wanted to like, take pictures of things. Well, I ended up taking a couple of clients, and I always took pictures of their hair, and I held these clients for a very long time. These are my prize-winning clients. So when I started looking at the pictures over a 2-year period, when they left the salon, they never felt like they had a dramatic change in their hair. When I put the pictures up to each other over a 2-year period, and then it was brought to my attention by my client because they threw a lot of parties, and started looking at hair, and over a 2-year period, if you went from the first one to the last one, there was like this total extreme, like from one point of the spectrum to the other, that we transitioned into, but we did it softly. So, I always reflect back to someone like MC Escher, like the metamorphosis of his work, and how things fade in and transition and do that. So I started reading and researching this guy a lot, and I just wanted to incorporate it in my work. I love this guy's like mathematical skills and how he brought it into art. So I do try to reflect on other people also besides just painters or artists or architects, things like that. All right, so what I'm going to do a little differently on this side, I held things more vertical, but my segment on this side came a lot higher up. So I wanted to be more vertical to sit in, and then that's when I started tilting it out. Once I hit the round of the head where my comb came off is when I started coming up with it. So I was vertical, and then a little bit kind of head shape diagonal out. This side's gonna be a little different. I'm at a lower point, so I want to retain a little bit more hair through here.
Question for you?
Yes.
Cajun Tinkerbell.
Yes.
She wants to know if you have ever, here we go. Did you ever know or meet Sam Mercado since he is a native Louisiana?
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Sam Mercado, let's see. I didn't personally meet him about 15, 16 years ago. Before I left New Orleans to come out to Santa Monica and start working, I had given them a call, believe when he was still in Baton Rouge. He's a local from New Orleans. His business was in Baton Rouge. I gave him a call because I wanted to see about working with them out there. He had launched a product line. I'm not sure if it was at that time or maybe a few years before. But then I got the ticket. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to California. Funny how things come around full circle again, like Adam was saying last week. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. We missed each other like 17, 16 years ago by a couple of weeks. Now, we started hanging out. Now we met each other. It's a timing thing. I always believe you run into the people you're supposed to be around, and you have 3 chances. You're going to run into them about 3 times. It's going to click eventually. It might take a few years, but if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Actually, I was at the HBV Awards, and that's when I was kind of meeting some different people, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, where my next move was. So I met Sam Mercado there, and he's an awesome guy. I got to meet him. I think his wife was there. What I love about Sam Mercado is every time I would see a picture of him, when I didn't actually know him, I was just like, this guy's using the same picture as his photo. And then I meet the guy, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, this guy is like doesn't age. He really doesn't age.
Really?
Like, yeah. No, he looks incredible. Like I'm like, but it's a Louisiana thing. I'm telling you, people age really well there. Yeah. No, well, you see hairstylists over like decades in their pictures. You're like, oh, they're not changing their pictures. But no, this guy actually does change his kind of thumbnails, profile pictures, whatever you want to call it. But it was just amazing when I met him. He looked great. His wife looked great. His kids. I mean, I've been seeing pictures of his kids. Like, internet or Instagram. I think they're in somewhere in Nashville, kicking it up. Like, but those guys look great too. The whole family. It's like a really good looking. I don't know what happened. Those genes just good looking people. But yeah, Sam Mercado's a really cool guy. I was very happy to meet him, and hopefully I get to hang out and talk to the guy again. I'm sure I will. So what I'm going to do here is I still want to be balanced, like I was saying. So I'm measuring where this hair is hitting. Now, it doesn't mean that the bottom hair that I have left to cut isn't going to hit further, but I do want to make sure that this is hitting in the same area. Just as that hair moves around, it's blown in the wind. I want there to be a balance when someone's looking. So, and a really great part about it is these pieces are pretty much at the same height. So that was pretty good idea. So I'm going to go here. It's a little higher. And we have Andy in the house. Thank God. I was running out of stuff to say.
Running out of stuff to say.
Send
in the clowns.
No, I got another question for you, if you want it now.
Yeah, let's take it. I'm loving that we're actually getting questions. Bomb away.
I'm paying them to, put in questions that I know. What's your best advice for newer haircutters that are trying to develop good cutting skills?
All right, newer hairstylists out there trying to develop. Julie Klein. That's a great question. I'm actually glad you asked that. We don't have it totally storyboarded out yet, but I've been talking about something with Adam. Yeah, I'm going to shout it out, talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
Nice.
It'll have to happen then.
No, well, that's a great thing. That's why we're doing this. It has to happen. So I was actually like really stoked on a FBI, like I just said. It brings seriousness to it. So it kind of gave me an idea that we have the Advanced Academy. We've done the men's grooming. We have a lot of different avenues that this company can go in. And as you can tell, like I am mixing it up a little bit on the advanced stuff. But I really stay focused on core fundamentals, and I just mix it up like a Rubik's Cube, and that's how I get my creative work. So what I was talking to Adam about was actually doing a show on the importance, and it would be targeted to hairstylists with 5 or less years experience, and it would be called the FBI Shakedown, hopefully, and the name could change, but anyway, basically to bring more foundation to beginners. And those are haircuts that I still do quite often in a salon. I'll be able to, I'm talking a lot now, but I'll still be able to talk a lot. But in those segments, we can actually focus a lot on core fundamentals. There's a different approach I'm going to take to it to make it a little bit simplified at first, but it's really going to build up your body mechanics of maneuvering around the chair and build up consistency. And then we're going to go into really strong foundation. So I'm gonna kind of treat it like the Star Wars trilogy. We're gonna start in the middle and then work back. Hopefully, if it works out. So advice on someone who's a beginner in 5 years. This is the thing. You want to do as much work as you can. The more you're getting involved, the more muscle memory you're going to have. It's going to set you up. You're going to be able to work really well. Hopefully you're part of a salon that has a great education team, and they really do have a few hours a week that they can spend with you. There are other things out there that we can work with. There's videos, there's strong programs out there, cutting foundations from other companies, which you can check out on Hairbrain, and they're accessible there. And that can actually help you. Now, if you are trying to figure out, sometimes when you read the books or you look at the videos, if you have questions, the Hairbrain community can answer a lot of questions. You can always tune in here and ask questions, and we can answer them the best we can. But someone out there will have the answer. And that's what's so great about the internet. And what we're doing and what we love to do is someone has an answer out there. You definitely want to check your credentials and make sure the person you're getting your information from is in a direction you want to move. No one has, I always like to say, no one has wrong or right information. I don't look at it as a winning and a losing thing. I look at it as either an achiever or a non-achiever. So you want to kind of figure out who you're getting your information from, make sure it's suited for you and what you're about, your community, the type of clients you have, and then you build towards it. But if you're in a salon and that's where you're working, your client relations is the biggest part of what you do. So that's the biggest step, client relations. Figuring out how you're going to access yourself with your clients. Where do you want to go with that? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to still work with this a little bit, but I kind of want to see a balance here. We're not going to leave this little whip here, but if you can see from the back, you know, I'm going to look at it from the front as I turn it around. What I'm looking at is to see where behind the head, if I'm looking from the front, where the hair's sitting, if it's got a balance to it, even though it's a little longer in the interior here and it's shorter over here, but the bottom here is longer, the bottom here is shorter. So I'm just kind of using it as an illusion. I'm setting myself up. Then when I go to detail it, I'm going to adjust where I need to adjust it. I'm just pre-gaming right now, figuring out how it's going to lay, and then I'm going to play with this after. But if you want to know, yes, I mean, we've been doing, you know, let's say panels that overlap each other that we cut a little differently, but still in the whole process of cutting, I'm not like doing anything with tricks. I'm just sticking to my core fundamentals, keeping an eye on what I'm doing as I speak, and at that point, once we're finished, then we're going to detail it and perfect it. I've still got to get back into the habit of like switching my scissors. For a long time, I was using very long scissors, and I kept poking myself in the wrist. So I stopped twisting my scissors. So I'm not even like, I don't even do that at this point. So I'm, you know, but it's something that you're used to if you've done it for a long time and you get back in the habit of doing it. All right. So what I'm going to do is at this point I want this to be a little softer, so I'm going to work in some round sections on my cutting angle, still leaving length to the exterior because I want something to pop over that a little bit, and I wanted to transition from side to side actually. So we're going to see if Adam has any more questions coming in.
Nope, not at this moment.
No. Who's this? Where are they from? Are they from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama?
Cajun Tinkerbell?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Let's find out. Why don't you comment in? Where are you from?
Cajun Tinkerbell, where are you from?
Cajun Tinkerbell, where are we from?
Tell them where you can find us, Billy. You know where they can find us?
Y'all can find us in Sacramento.
Well, like to follow us.
Oh, to follow us. See what happens when I talk too much? I'm lost. God, see, I'm sitting here talking about, you know, other social media sites. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us website. Instagram, you got AJF. What is it? AJF. You got 3 of them, right?
What, Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually as I'm asking you this, it's all floating around in the bottom left corner of your screen. Now, but be sure to follow us, like us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully like us.
Instagram, Federico Advanced, or Federico Beauty Institute, AJF Salon. Facebook would be AJF Salon, Federico Advanced, Federico Beauty Institute. You can always stay in the know of our upcoming classes, events, as well as
Yeah.
episodes coming out. So
Yeah, keep in touch with us. Like Adam said, like us. Even if you don't like us, you know, let us know.
like us.
You don't have to like us, but
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. That's
Baton
why the
Rouge.
Sam Bricado question came about.
Is
Now,
it Baton Rouge or how you say it?
it's Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
Come on, what do you watch? True Blood or something? We're at the La Bonton. We're at the Baton Rouge. No. It's actually funny because we actually have a bar in New Orleans called La Bonton, which is a great seedy place to drink at. I love a good hole in a wall. So anyway, so let's see. You're in Baton Rouge. Are you possibly working in one of Sam Bricado's old spaces? Or did you go off and work with someone like Rigsby or the gallery? Where are you at? Tell us where you're at. See, they're trying to see if I'm really from New Orleans. I got to name drop all these people in Baton Rouge. So right now, I'm standing behind the head and I'm over directing forward, cutting shorter to longer, not kinetically. I'm not moving with it. I'm cutting a nice clean line, but I want to maintain with some exterior through here and see what's going to happen. I will come back and detail a little bit more if I need be. So same way that you would be checking round layers, I'm just kind of taking that section in that you would be checking with, and I'm going to continue all the way back. So here we go. I'm getting a little thirsty. I'm actually getting hungry. I got to get some food in me.
Getting hungry.
I mean, I don't know about you guys. It's getting close to dinner time. I got to find some new places out there to eat at. I've been cooking a lot at home. I do like to cook, but...
What's your specialty, Billy?
What's my specialty?
Yeah, what's your fave?
Well, so I lost about 35 pounds in the past year and a half. I used to eat a lot of New Orleans food filled with butter and fat and fried twice or 3 times or 4 times. I don't even know. But actually I've been cooking more healthy, and it's not a big, you know, everyone here eats healthy, so it's nothing special. But I fried some food. Hey guys, what's up? How many people are going to walk through that wide door? What is my specialty? It's kind of hard to say what my specialty is. I mean, I'm not a great cook. Otherwise, I'd be a chef.
Everybody has their special dishes, though.
Yeah, I come. Oh my God.
Some beignets, man.
I'm gonna get on the beignets. That's probably someone right now. I forgot to turn my ringer off. Someone's probably like, dude, why don't you cook them beignets? I have been talking about beignets. I gotta make beignets, and I probably just oversold myself.
Yep.
Luckily, no one here's had them. And when they go to New Orleans, they're gonna be like, oh my God, Billy gave us the shittiest beignets he made. Trying to keep it clean, man. Trying to keep it clean. But no, I'm gonna make beignets. I like to cook somewhat spicy food, some different stuff. You know, I grew up in the city. I mean, I would go hang out in the country sometimes. I didn't really belong there. Maybe the swamps for like tours, you know, like everyone else. Now I'd hang out a little bit depending on where I was, but I don't know. I was a city boy. You know, it's a guy surrounding areas. They cook really great food.
Crawfish boil.
A crawfish boil, yeah. I can't boil crawfish. It's actually, people think it's really easy. It's not that easy to boil crawfish and have it come out really nice.
We can go to the park right by the house, Lamb Park.
Yeah.
They got crawfish that live in that little pond over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I heard like crawfish season here. I met a couple of guys about 4 hours north of here. It's like mudbug season all the time, all year round. Mudbug.
Cajun Tinkerbell says she went to Sam's Beauty School, Lockworks.
Yeah. You know, I saw a lot of hair videos at Lockworks, man. They were pretty killer. They kicked it in. It was nice. You had a great selection of videos there. So if you went to Lockworks, I guess you're not going to say where you're working. I don't know, I have no idea. And you don't need to say where you're working. But I'm assuming if you're working in that area, or that building, it's probably the Aveda salon that took that space.
I'm banning Cajun Tinkerbell from any more comments.
Why?
Because she's making me homesick.
She's making me no, she's not making me homesick.
No more comments from Cajun Tinkerbell.
No, you can comment as much as you want. We need comments. Tinkerbell, what we actually need you to do is actually get more of your friends involved in checking us out. Get as many people as you can watching these things out, because, you know, I mean, it's great to have people watch them later, but I feel like it's really fun to have people ask questions.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun.
All right, so we're a little lower on this side of the head, like we were saying with the parting. I could go over, but that's going to run into where it was a good bit shorter, so I don't want to do that. So what I am going to do is carry everything first forward, and then I'm going to transition it. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking vertical sections back. Well, actually at the place of the head I'm at, they're going to be horizontal. So I'm going horizontal back. I'm coming off of the head shape. I want to know where it turns. I'm putting my comb there, and then I will transition after. So I want to hit about the same spot. Going to be a little less layered, but I'm going to go in there and take care of that balance after. And I just saw that I had a little slag in that, so I'm actually going to come back and recut, make sure everything's even tension, and you can tell what happens when you have a little slag. And now I'm coming off the head shape, and I'm just going to go back into this direction. We have someone from Atlanta?
Julie Klein, yeah, who's asking about your best advice for new hair cutters. She's from Atlanta.
Awesome. I worked in Atlanta. Where are you at in Atlanta?
These guys are like staying up late.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Atlanta's a really cool city, man. There's a lot of great hairstylists out there. I worked out there. A lot of fun stuff. Give us a shout out. Who knows? You might actually be working with people I've worked with. A lot of them went off and opened other salons out there. Wouldn't that be great? But there are some people in Atlanta have great training programs. If you really want to know, just give us a shout out. Let me know which area of town you're in. Probably one of those like streets named Piedmont that have like 13 of them. Piedmont Boulevard, Piedmont Street, Piedmont Place, Piedmont Avenue. Yeah. I wouldn't know where you were at if you said Piedmont. They're all over the city. No, the funny thing, great thing about I used to get lost in Atlanta all the time. I was trying to figure it out. And I asked them, like, why do the roads go in circles, cul-de-sacs? You take a 20-minute tour, and then you come out the road a block ahead from the road you turned off on. And they're like, oh, well, they have to follow, it's a historical thing, and they have to follow the old Native American trails. So they couldn't, like, reroute them. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's such a pain in the ass, because after that, you know, I was just like lost pretty much all the time. Are we going crazy? What's going on? Who's going crazy?
No. Speaking model.
So we're going to be a lot longer, which is a good intent. So I just think it's going to be a little heavy. So what I'm going to do is get my balance. And I want to show this. I'm going to say this every week. It was a great trick I learned, especially from doing men's hair. I can't even remember where I learned it from, who taught it to me, but I know it was probably with some man with a comb over back in the day. So I have a side parting, so this is a good trick to know. On the lighter side, you always want to hold 12 o'clock. Depending on how far offset from the center of the parting is, you're going to go to your 1, your 2, or your 3. I'm just going to estimate how far the parting is, but considering the head shape, it's a little bit flatter and then drops. I'm going to go with about a 130 kind of hand. Adam, you tell me if I'm hitting dead on or am I?
That's pretty good. That's an interesting little trick.
Thank you very much, sir.
I like that. Called the clock.
Called the clock.
I've got a clock rule.
You do?
I do.
Like speed it up? What time is it?
No, not that clock yet. No. I'll share it with you at a later date.
Nice.
So yeah, that'd be a good one to implement into cutting methodology.
Nice. So what I was going to say is this, people are going to love this, especially if there's any salon owners out there watching this. I don't know if you ever run across the issue. I used to run across the issue of like stylists or people that worked for me who would run late in my salon and get to work late. That's not, very uncommon in New Orleans. I wouldn't say it's very common, but what I decided to do was put everyone on military time. I had them set their phones to military time because the biggest excuse was, oh, I set my alarm for PM instead of AM. I didn't get here on time. So everyone who picks up my phone now to look at time or figure something out here, they're like, dude, what the hell? Like, you have military time and I can't, or they don't even know it's military time. I'm like, dude, you're like going into like teens and 20s. Like, what's going on here? So I have to explain like it's military time. But if you're an owner out there and you have an issue of stylists that are showing up late, or people that work the front desk or things like that come in and they always say, oh, it's like PM or AM, just have them go to military time. I mean, they have to do it. That way they can't ever be late. They have no excuse.
What held that one?
Julie Klein from Atlanta is assisting or apprenticing, I believe, at Buckhead Salon under Michael Burton.
Michael Burton, Buckhead.
And Cajun Tinkerbell says that she loves Atlanta and they have some pretty decent hair shows there.
Yeah, they do. Michael Burton. Do not know the name Michael Burton. I'd like to know the name Michael Burton. Hopefully Michael Burton's watching or can comment next week. Make a new friend out there. We always need friends in other cities. Usually when someone says Buckhead Salon, they're referring to the Van Michael salons. Because there's so many out there. It's like 4 or something.
What does Buckhead mean then?
Buckhead's an area of town. And usually, like Van Council, we all know who Van Council is. His salon name, I'm assuming, is still Van Michael. Michael his brother, who was in a business with him, so that's where the name's from. And they're really good guys, actually. Really great. So we're going to take this out. I know I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to leave it till the end. Right now we're going to diffuse. You know what I don't have? I don't have a sock. It's in my locker. Hey, Nicole, can you do me a favor? Could you go in my locker and grab the 2 socks? There's 2 of them, big or small. So we're going to wet this up and see where we're going at this point. Alabama high test, looking for a big mess. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. We gotta sing a little bit. I'm sure these people are like, what is that guy up there doing? So it's really funny. Like when I was in New Orleans, I grew up there. Whatever. They got the music scene. They got the going out scene, the restaurant scene, the hole in the wall scene, which is very popular. It's a little subdivided, I guess you could say. But anyway, so I was there, and I've seen it growing up. I wasn't a big fan of actually going out and seeing a lot of local New Orleans music. Some, but not all the genres. Kind of like some of the newest stuff that was derived from, I guess, earlier on music in the city. But I find myself listening to more of that while I'm out here, and it's funny because they have a pretty great music scene out here on the West Coast, and I would listen to that music when I was back home. It's kind of weird. Yeah. Come on, here, throw. All right. You'll soon one day see Nicole on camera. She's got a good arm though. I think she played softball, I believe. Did you play softball? Were you a pitcher? No?
No.
All right. Hey, Adam, why don't you just turn the camera around and show Nicole off while I grab, you know, just for a second there. We can,
Oh, he wants
no?
to spray something else.
Nicole, it's Man Foot Central. What's that?
Hi.
It was man bun. Wait, I can't talk shit. It's the man bun in the
I
house.
can see the back of my hair. Oh, nice. I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Alrighty. So I'm just going to kind of mold this with my fingers, see what I get out of it. I'm going to diffuse it with the sock, have a little bit. I'm assuming if it's air dried, it's going to dry a little similar. Isn't it funny how that always happens? A lot of times I'll wrap curly hair, wavy hair, my clients. I put it in one of those, like, you know, it's going to sound old school and weird, but I'll use one of those, like, kind of, not fishnets, but like it's kind of thick, you know, kind of like, you know, what you hold your dreads in. And I go under the hood dryer. I find like it dries really nice, kind of gives me more consistency of what their hair is going to look like. It dries it all up, you know, simultaneously. But we're going to work on this right now. I am going to flatten it out a little bit in the front. Adam's going to jump in here eventually and just say something. Oh, Adam left.
What's her natural texture?
Wavy. Wavy.
So are we like wrapping it first and then diffusing?
No,
Just
no.
going
We're
straight
gonna,
to diffusing?
yeah, I'm gonna go straight with the sock, which is another interesting toy I've been using thanks to Hairbrain, Gerard, Randy, with their nice toys over there, YS Park.
So, since I didn't get to start with it, how about a quick recap?
Oh my gosh, a quick recap. On the whole, why don't you just watch it? No, I'm just kidding.
I can always go, I
All right.
probably will.
So I had it separated from the parting.
I saw some sort of like full geometric shape in there.
Yeah, I like to keep my disconnections, or if I'm dividing top from bottom, I try to keep them either in some sort of square, triangle, circle, oval, rectangle, you know, kind of something that has points on a reference of the head shape. So that's kind of where I section things off, dealing with the head shape. What I decided to do today is work with some stuff I've kind of been seeing around town that I really liked. Wanted to kind of free up the interior, and I wanted to cut it a little bit shorter so we have something to play with if we style it from one side to the other. But what I chose to do in this segment was the side that had the higher parting, the segment sitting higher. And they both came to a balance below from behind the mastoid process, cupping the occipital, so that left me the bottom. On the heavier side, I went with it being flatter and then turning as I wrapped around the head to being vertical. On this side, I actually dug in and kept it pretty much like classic round graduation, vertically, pretty much vertically, slightly diagonal back. Same thing on the bottom, but I had less hair on this side. So on the center area, what I did was, before I hit the top, on this side I cut more vertical and flat, and on this side I held up and cut a little more flatter to the ceiling, concave as you would. So the balance would come in. So I just switched them. And we're gonna see. It's like I said, it's something I've been toying with, I've been seeing. And to be honest with you guys, I mean, like anything, I mean, we're doing a model right here. We have control of what we're doing, but it's kind of designed personally for her. So we're gonna tweak it, for sure.
Here's the kicker though with your blow dryer, so that works out perfect. So I can get you one that we use here. He says that he'll take it for free or he give you a few donations for that. For some, he's waiting for her
It's awesome. I just met her tonight. She's from Baton Rouge. She actually is working. Yeah. She was on, yeah, I think she's been tuning in with you guys live for a while, before I got here, yeah. I was thinking it was a friend from New Orleans too, but she's obviously been tuning on for a while. Well, I mean, look, she's, from what it sounds like, she's kind of new, right? No? Oh no, the other girl, Atlanta girl is under 5 years. Tinkerbell, how long you been doing hair? I like the, like, what is it? Cajun Tinker. So Cajun, how long you been doing hair, girl? We're gonna throw a little Louisiana out there, talk a little funny. I'm just gonna stop. Can you understand the words coming out of my mouth? No, it's great, see? It keeps me from being, I'm really shy in front of the camera, so this works out great. Huh? Some of these amazing original products that we have sitting up here. Hold on, let me actually look and see. Yeah. Yeah. The curl defines on there, it's really easy one to find since it's got the little squiggly on it. Yeah. In that bag. Those products are a little empty. We gotta replenish them. Did you? Someone's been in here using them then. 16 years, that's awesome. That would be right because you went to Lockworks. Very, very dumb of my question there. I got to throw back a little memory there. It's been a long time. Yeah, because Lockworks has been locked down, I guess, for like 16 years. Yeah, they're on lockdown. I think it's like turned into the Aveda Institute or something. So like we were going to touch base, like on the importance of some of the questions asked earlier, you know, stuff about foundation. So I was telling you about like how I try to let the hair, you know, it tells a story, so I want to know what it's going to do. You know, the years that you've been working, you transition, you know, the first 5-7 years, you're really honing in on your skill, you're doing it the way you were taught, you're understanding the philosophy and the methodology of what you're doing. And then you start moving into your, I'd like to kind of say 7 to 12 year period is kind of the next little area when dealing with a craft. You'll pick it up a little faster if you've studied other crafts. I mean, they all have some correlation to them. But when you're in that kind of 7 to 12 year pattern, you start questioning every little thing of detail on like why your fundamentals got you to where you're at, why your philosophy got you to where you're at, and the methodology, and then you start questioning like, is there another way? Is this the only way? Is this the right way? Well, I mean, yeah, it is. But once you hit that 12-year slide, I like to call it, that little glide, you kind of, you know, your acceptance to knowledge is like this in the beginning. And then you hit your 7 to 12 year and you don't feel as excited because what you're learning is so in depth at a different level. So you might not feel as excited, and that's why you start questioning all these things. And then you start figuring it out. And the great thing about it is with all this education online and different, you know, so many more people involved in our industry and great predecessors out there and educators, people feel their knowledge of sharing so much, which is a really great thing. You can kind of bypass some of these issues, but you're never going to bypass the one issue, and that is experience in doing it. And when you hit that 12-year mark, kind of, is when I started kind of seeing like, all right, I've answered, not fully answered all these questions, but I had a general idea. I don't know, I mean, we'll ask Adam if this is kind of what he went through and how he felt, but I went through this session like about 12 years in where I started kind of using that methodology and that philosophy and evolving it into the things that I cared about, passions that I wanted to see, and looks that I wanted to see. And from there, you know, I could veer off. I mean, that's what I was saying. I worked, 8 years by, with a smaller team in New Orleans. People came and go. I had an interesting 8 years there. I met a lot of great stylists that, kind of just passed through. But I learned a lot from these people too. A lot of these stylists, a lot of them were beginners, and it helped me like working with them on a day-to-day basis, answer a lot of questions. Yeah, I'm just playing, I'm kind of talking. So we're going to detail this as we come into it. I got a lot of expansion that I was looking at because we really did go in there and cut it and only left the top a little section longer. But it's expanding, so it's not looking as short underneath. So yeah, that's where I was going, I guess, with this story. Is like I've developed my own little kind of way that I wanted to do things. Still using philosophy and methodology from the beginning that I was taught. Coming here and working with all these, extremely well-trained stylists at AJF. I mean, they got educators coming in and out of this place all the time. So the education level and experience here is really, really exciting. So I'm watching the ones who are really well trained in a similar system, and I'm seeing like it's bringing me back to these memories of this difference of what things I started to change and do, and now I'm going back again, 18 years later, or 20 years later. I always like to say the first 2 years I was just making a lot of mistakes. Don't really want to count them, but it was things that taught me a lot. But yeah, watching all these great stylists, I just wanted to say that it's kind of bringing me back to my roots, and now I'm questioning actually how I got here again. And at this point, I'm excited to see where it's going to take me. Knowledge-wise and my work.
Ooh, what kind of brush are you using now?
What kind of brush do you think I am using, Andy?
Is it a vest brush?
Correct.
Ooh,
One of the nicer colors. I love this color.
oh, that color is cool.
Yeah.
I'll use that for like lap wrapping ahead too, along with like, just blow drying and beveling and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, definitely.
Nice and soft and those ball ends.
Oh yeah. Do we carry the vest brush here?
Yeah.
I don't know if we carry the orange, but a buddy of mine out there, sent me this one, which is nice. Good old Hairbrain, always looking out for everyone. They want you to use great tools, so they send you good stuff. All right, so grab a sip of water. And now we are going to detail. We're going to treat this a little more visual than anything. Like I was saying, I've just been seeing a little bit of this kind of rougher, softer texture. And then I'm going to actually take a view myself from the front just to get an idea on where we're going. And all right, I'm going to treat that last. It's a secret. I can't. It's a secret. Yeah. I mean, we're finishing the food here. That's the secret part. So we're going to leave that over there. And I'm just going to slide cut and get rid of some of this. I'm pinching it together because I do want it to kind of flare out a little bit. So I'm going to take all of this section. And here we go. So as you see, yeah, I do have this like kind of little roughness feel. It's kind of what I'm into. We're into the down and gritty down in New Orleans. But
Sacktown's gritty.
exactly. What do you think? What do you?
Sacramento's gross.
This is what I'm liking. Well, that's what I was saying. I've been seeing stuff like this in Midtown area, so I've been kind of fascinated. I feel like it's like cowgirls. They're like in boots, and so like a kind of urban cowgirl kind of feel. I'm gonna take another look. I want to see. I'm kind of liking this. I know we're gonna change the color up too.
Cajun kinks, low in the front.
Oh wow.
No pressure in the back though.
No pressure in the back. Okay. Well, I was leaving the back, you know, more of that style down there, Southern. We're going to cut the front short. We're going to leave the back mullety kind of feeling. No, we're not. Now we're just scaring Courtney.
Yeah, my eyes got big, don't worry.
Your what got big?
My eyes.
Your eyes?
Yeah.
Well, wait till we're in the camera to show those big eyes off.
Hey, dilated, you scared me.
No.
You said the M word.
So I'm going to just, yeah, no, mullets are great. Depends on which region they're coming from. You got the Bayou mullets, you got the Australian mullets, you got the British mullets, you got the Japanese mullets. They're all fun.
There's no Courtney mullet.
So I'm just going to twist it. I just want to add a little texture. I did not use a razor with cutting this, so I'm resorting back to a little bit different kind of movement with the scissors and detailing it. Get a little bit of this chunkiness with it. So I am actually, like I said, I was working with some round sectioning. I don't want to disturb the curl pattern, so I'm just going to kind of take my section as one. I want to see what it's doing. I'm going to come in from the front and cut it outward, make it a little more extreme for the roundness. We did talk about a length, even though I had creative freedom with the interior, we did talk about a general length somewhere around this area, so I am going to leave the top and just keep playing with it till I get it in. I do want to detail it. Now this is all a personal reference. You know, you can take the section in if you know, when you're looking at it, if you want to work with the section and change the depths of the layers to where you need it to fit and be suitable for what you're doing. But yeah, play with the haircut, do what you need to do. Your finishing work is going to be different. Adam had said something really good. You got to tune, you know, for if you missed last week's episode, tune in. There was some good points he hit on with detailing that I found very interesting. I can't actually remember, but I do remember. Well, I remember getting excited when I heard. I was like, oh wait, I gotta, you know, that's really cool. It was something when he was playing with around in front of the ears, and then he was like, oh, the fringe. He was playing with the fringe, and he was talking about like what he would normally do in that case, and then he saw something that night, you know, just having a different angle, I guess not being in front of the mirror, and he treated it a little different. And I think I want to say I was bouncing in and out of salon this week. I don't know for sure, but I almost want to say that I saw him treat with that technique, do it, and it was a longer version on the fringe. It was something he was working with on a razor haircut and then switched over to scissors. The guy's funny like that. He tricks you, man. He works with his razor, he works with his scissors. So dynamic. What's that? Comments?
Actually do free haircuts if they're cutting off the building. Cajun does free mullet cuts if they're cutting them off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Free mullet cuts.
Free mullet, if they have a Billy Ray Cyrus type of haircut and they're cutting it off, she'll give it to them free.
Oh, you are actually getting rid of the mullet for free.
Yeah.
See, I'd be cutting the mullet for free to have fun.
Just to get the mullet on?
Yeah, I'd be like, I'll give you a free haircut if you want to get a mullet on. It'd be fun. Has anyone ever eaten a mullet? Is it a tasty fish? I don't know.
It's a mullet of fish.
Isn't it a fish?
No.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a fish.
I have no idea.
I think, yeah. Well, someone write in. We love the comments. Tell us if I'm just being stupid over here, goofy.
Mullet of fish.
Is the mullet a fish? I mean, it was that great website. Remember that in the early 2000s with Mel Gibson? All the mullets he had?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that was so great. Actually, I shouldn't have turned. Sorry about that, guys. Sitting here talking. Adam, give me your eyes, man. What are you seeing? No, we got to break this up a little more.
Break that area. Well, it's looking good. I'm just thinking you may use a finishing product to kind of take it all and clump it together. That's how I'm looking at it.
And as we know, I am just going to start training a lot more with the razor to get a lot more looks like this on the wet cut. But unfortunately, you guys are just going to be stuck with me with scissors for a little bit until I get Adam over here training me up. Adam's incredible with the razor. I thought I'd play with the razor by myself without any formal training just to see what I come up with.
How'd it go?
Well, after watching you guys, I definitely am not using it to my advantage on how you guys use it and how the Erosia team's using it. Now that I've looked at a couple of things, but I came up with some really interesting ways to use that damn thing. I'll say that. And it's great. I actually found my mother's old razor from when she did hair, and it's an old German Birkum, I think, like really old school. It's actually really nice. But that was back in the day when it would just pull your hand and rip it.
Dude, back in the day, the Germans had made great steel, like
That's when
German made really great hair cutting scissors back in the day.
Yeah.
Like post World War II steel kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Katie Tinkerbell says she's been mullet tossing in Mississippi before, and it's a fish. LOL.
Yes.
And now she's loving the back too. So you're safe.
All right.
Cajun Tink likes it.
So that's the interesting thing, you want to know where it's sitting, you want to know what it's doing. Previously, of course, you cut it, I'm going to back this up a little bit. I'm a little camera shy. And like I was saying, you just want to detail it out and see what you get. Now I'm starting to expose this back a little bit, so I'm going to get in here and actually play with this. I'm trying not to disturb it too much with my comb. But yeah, I just want to break this up a little more. So as you can tell, I'm having to go back on the side that I was a little more solid on and break that up a little bit. Now, I don't want to lose that illusion of the length from the front when I look at it front on, so I'm going to over direct everything back and then just kind of toy with this. So like I said, it's kind of a visual thing. I just want to see where I want to push this. And at this point, I know that this is going to kind of rock out there. And of course, we got another different look going on here. This is what a few weeks ago I was saying I usually use clippers with. I'll come in there and just kind of distort it out a little bit, but I don't have them plugged in. All right, and I've got a little bit of flare. And this, I've seen it on other days, it does curl a little more. I'm used to a lot of humidity, so I might not be putting enough product in here and there. It's a different environment. I'm still playing around. But I do know that I definitely have seen more curl in this, so I'm expecting it to jump up a little bit, which is going to add more softness. And we're going to be working on this color soon.
I told you it would get crazy.
Yeah, that's okay though. Courtney actually volunteered. We had a model get sick. There's a flu going around here, I think. So Courtney at the last minute today kind of jumped in here. Thank God. Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah.
So we didn't have time to actually work with the color, but we have this awesome stylist too who will, I think, be working on this in class for them. But you will see too up here eventually. She's an incredible stylist here at AJF and an incredible teacher, teaching me color. I'll toy with that later.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Cool haircut.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Adios.
Gotta get a view.
Adios.
See ya.
Have a good night.
I do finish and work on that. All right, so if you're seeing something like I'm seeing right now where I want a little bit more curl pattern, you can go in there with like your smooth and iron and do that and create it. We're not going to sit here and do that tonight. I don't know where the time is, but I am going to rework these fringe. So I want a little bit more softness on top, so I'm going to actually curl, bevel my fingers over. Same thing over here. I'm not going to actually continue to cut that line. I'm going to grab it all and move it towards me so I can lighten it up and then keep all that length. Build a little bit of weight with a little softness to it and still have thickness going on. Take all that off. A little while ago, I guess years ago, I was really into like really long straps and things and just kind of changing a little bit. I'm not really that into them. But I am going to make it a little more blunt right there. See where we're at. Nice. I am going to turn my iron on and put it on my bag. I just want to wave this up a little bit. And let's see, Adam, where are we at with this feel? I'm going to turn it around and just kind of looking at it. Add a little bit more softness right here. What you see? Do you see something? El Nino? All right, fresh eyes from the back, Adam.
Fresh eyes from the back. It's good, man. The old finishing product on there to keep that wave and the effect a bit more, a little texture. Come on. Looking good.
I'm going to come through here. Sometimes I see some things. I'm taking this out. I just wanted to open that channel up right there. And same thing here.
Cajun Pink's loving it, dude. She would totally wear this haircut.
Nice. So see, that's...
Hair is really big. I don't get it.
What's that?
And says I would totally wear this cut, and wear is really big. Ha ha. Wear. She wants to wear the haircut.
Nice.
Funny.
So as you see, you know, there's so many different ways. We were talking about precision things earlier, and like I was saying, I've been looking at a lot of streetwear. So I used the system. I kept it precision based, and then the finished result looks a little more tougher, like kind of a little more street. At least the kind of streets I like to hang out on that I'm seeing. I like the roughness.
I'm going on Cajun Tinkerbell's page.
Nice.
She's got like learn how to boil seafood the way us Louisiana folks do it.
All right.
How to cook pork chops and gravy.
Pork chops and gravy. Oh my God, are they fried pork chops though? I'm missing fried pork chops and butter beans.
I'm no longer on your page. I'm looking at Cajun Tink's page.
Adam is funny.
Good stuff.
So we're gonna put some product in this after. I'm just kind of finishing some things right here. And I wanted a little bit of this roughness to it. All I'm doing is just putting the iron in, turning it at 180 degrees, either towards me or away from me. I'm switching them up so they don't have the same direction of curl. These I kind of want to go to the face, so let's throw this in here. Now I know these lights are getting in my eyes. I just saw blue in your hand. I know you don't have blue in there.
I wish.
I think it was the plates. Where am I at?
What do you need?
A little bit of finishing.
Something there.
The refinishing dry shampoo, and we got the heat and oil.
What kind of product are you looking for? What do you want out of it?
I want to just kind of expand a little bit, but keep the grittiness.
Expand a little bit, but keep it. I would use a little bit of the refinish to expand it, and then hit it with a little bit of the healing oil at the end to give it the moisture it needs.
All right, so Adam over here, which I should be knowing by now, kind of helped me out with a little bit of finishing product. And we're using the Aerosio Finishing Dry Shampoo. And we're going to come back with the oil, the spray heating oil.
And use that stuff very, not liberally, very delicately, if it'll get spoiled.
Thanks for the product knowledge there. I'm gonna do one thing that I said not, and we're just gonna and then I'm gonna use my fingers just to kind of go in there and make sure that is not too rough. All right, Adam, what are we looking like?
Looks good, man.
All right.
Catching the perspective. Let's step back, take a look at the camera, see what the people are seeing. Cool. Good.
So many lights in here.
Right, blingy.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Let me change the color up a little bit. All right. So, as of course, thanks for tuning in at Federico Advanced. We try to change it up weekly. We're going to do sometimes, we're going to do different stuff each week. Sometimes I'm going to keep it a little more interesting, but maybe refinish in a different way, a little more refined. Just like I was saying, I've been inspired off of some of the street fashion here, and I just wanted to give it a little bit of a taco and see if I could come up with something off of it. I'm going to move it around a little bit. I actually want to switch sides and see where we're going now with this. I want to see if we can expand it.
So I like it on that side.
Yeah, see, that's the thing lately with the way that I've been cutting hair. When you push it to the opposite side, it's actually it's actually moving around a bit better.
Kitchen sink loves it, dude. Damn, it's cute. Great job.
So we're going to do another spin now at this side. But I'm going to keep the bangs over here. Let's throw the bangs anyway. All right, so now we have this angle we're going to work with. Kind of change it up a little bit. I'm interested to see it, and it's a great thing is that Courtney's in class here, so I get to see throughout the weeks what's going to happen with it, which is always interesting. I like to rough things up and just kind of get in there. All right, so we're going to be tuning out. Thanks for joining us. I'm not sure who your host will be next week. It's going to be something interesting, I can assure you that. And like we were saying before, we still got some of the demo tickets left for DJ Muldoon on September 15th, so we want to give him a shout out. His hands-on class did go very quickly. Like I was saying before, that's not a surprise. We have Douglas McCoy coming in October to do similar fashion of hands-on and demos. So before that gets sold out, get your tickets. You can go to federico.ed or federico.ed.
Federico.edu.
All right, federico.edu to get those tickets. Again, we'll touch base. We do also have later in September. I don't know. I think it changed. So I want to make sure before I say it.
Yeah.
We'll tune in next week. All right, thanks. Have a great night, guys. Just remember to ask a lot of questions and get all your friends tuning in. Talk about it. Get it going on. Facebook, Instagram, and where else are we? What else do we have?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
Twitter, all the good stuff. Look up Federico, look up FBI, or Federico Beauty Institute, AJF Salon, you'll run across it. Thanks again. My name is Billy Miller. I also have Instagram, bmillerUAS. Don't do Twitter, and my Facebook page I'm locked out of right now. So good luck with that one.